Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira. And today, very special guest. He has some best-selling books, Hot Commodities and Street Smarts, and he's one of the better-known, world-renowned investors. Of course, that being Jim Rogers. Jim, welcome. How are you doing?
And I like silver.
Jim likes silver.
I own silver, lots.
I know he even has some in his pocket.
And gold.
Right. Jim, first of all, again, welcome back. And how are you doing? How's the family?
Well, as far as I know, we're all fine. Things are great, but who knows? But we think everything is great.
I guess first thing I'll start off with tariffs. I'd like to get your opinion on the tariffs that have been coming. I mean, they do seem to be coming pretty frequently, and then sometimes they're pulled back, and then sometimes they're put back on again. So I just wanted to know your opinion on tariffs, and if they are something that will help, or if they're something that may end up hurting.
Well, I want to go to the big picture, and I'll use America since it's the largest market in the world. The American stock market has been going up since 2008. Mm-hmm. That's the longest in American history. Never in American history have things done so well for so long. So I am extremely worried. It may never happen. Maybe nothing bad will ever happen again in America, but I doubt it. So I have sold my American shares because I'm worried that hard times are coming. And when they come, they will probably be very bad because the debt is so very high. Mm-hmm. In America now. The debt has gone up enormously, so I'm worried. I'm worried about the United States.
Yeah, it's a great point. A lot of people are worried, including myself. The interesting thing with tariffs, there's been a point of contention where people feel that if we tariff the world enough, then the U.S. can lower income tax. Because back in the day, a long time ago, the U.S. had no income tax, and it was basically the tariffs that were funding the country. So when you hear this idea being floated around where we increase the tariffs and we can lower people's income tax, is that still a viable solution today?
Well, politicians love easy answers. If you have easy answers, politicians everywhere in the world will love them. In America, they think that in Washington, they think that lowering interest rates is the answer to everything. Now, interest rates in the U.S. are among the lowest they've ever been in American history. And when things go wrong, they'll lower interest rates again. Is that good for you and me? No. Is it good for the world? No. But that's all they know, and so that's what they will do. I would suspect that we will see interest rates go lower again in the U.S., and that's one reason I have sold my American shares, because it is not good for America. We've had high inflation, the highest ever. We have interest rates very low on a historic basis, and I mean, we all want easy answers. Yeah. I want easy answers. We all want to be rich fast. Everybody wants to be rich fast, but you have to be careful sometimes.
In that spirit of being careful, do you think with again, going back to the tariffs, there's a chance that U.S. allies will perhaps start to split or give a little bit more distance and not be so in lockstep with the U.S.?
Well, I own a lot of U.S. dollars, not because it's a sound currency. The U.S. is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and the debt gets worse every day. But when hard times comes, when turmoil comes, most people in the world look for a safe haven. And for many people, they think the U.S. dollar is a safe haven. So that's why I own it. what will happen is when we have a problem, the dollar will go higher as people look for a safe haven. I hope I'm smart enough to sell if that happens, when that happens. Now, what you should ask me now is, and where will you put the money?
Okay.
That's a very good question. I own gold, I own silver, but I need a currency, and I don't know yet what new currency will compete with the US dollar. I am looking for the replacement or the competitor to the US dollar, and I don't know what it is yet.
Well, Warren Buffett, his father, Howard Buffett, congressman from Nebraska, he loves gold and silver. He even went to say how gold and silver or sound money, they offer you freedom in comparison to where Mussolini, Stalin, Hitler had said one of the ways to introduce, let's say, socialism, communism, is to take away physical ownership and give people currencies. So Howard Buffett, ex-congressman from Nebraska, Warren Buffett's father, loves gold and silver, says they're freedom. Others say without that physical ownership, there's control. Would you agree with either one of them or your
Well,
own opinion?
You know, the Buffetts are smarter than I am. But whatever happens, for hundreds of years, silver and gold have been considered a store of value in most parts of the world. Most of the world has used silver as coins. The United States, when it was established, it was a silver standard. The first currency was backed by silver for 100 years. So silver, Jesus Christ was sold for 30 pieces of silver, not for gold, because silver was mainly the money in that part of the world then. So silver and gold, whether we like it or not, have always been considered valuable by the world, and they probably always will. So that's one reason I own silver and gold, and why I hope I'm smart enough to buy more. Now, there are people in the world who say we should go to a gold standard again or to a silver standard again. But whatever happens, silver and gold will be useful. When things are bad, you should have some gold under the bed. You should have some silver in the closet, because they will help save you.
Something that's been floated around is the idea from, I'm going to credit Judy Shelton here. She's floating around the idea that there could be a 50-year treasury bond backed by gold, where at the end of 50 years, you can either redeem it upon maturity for, let's say, cash or gold. So what do you think about that idea?
Well, I have been around a long time, and I cannot tell you how many ideas I have heard, how many theories, how many salvations, which will save us all. Who knows? But I do know that for the last few hundred years, if you have some silver, you're probably better off. If you have some gold, you're probably better off, whether we like it or not. Now, today you cannot go down to the grocery store and buy a loaf of bread with silver. But if you have some silver, it will be useful. If you need some bread, I assure you it will be useful. And I mean, I hate to keep saying all this, but I have been buying silver for over 50 years and gold for over 50 years. And I don't plan to ever sell my gold. My wife asked me the other day, when can she sell the gold? I said, you cannot. We own the silver and gold forever. And when there's a crisis, we have the silver and the gold. Maybe she will sell it then, if I'm dead and gone. But my reading of history is very, very clear that if there's a crisis, you want some silver. You want some gold.
Right.
You want to go in the closet and get out the silver. You want to crawl under the bed and find the gold. I mean, this has always happened. Now, of course, there are very long periods when nothing happens. But that's okay, because when something happens, you want to have your silver, and I want to have my silver and my gold.
Okay, that's an interesting point, because what I'm gathering from you is when it comes to silver and gold, it's not so much the price, it's the purpose of silver and gold.
Well, yes. Now, if you are a very good trader and speculator, you can make a fortune buying silver and gold at the right price. You buy it here, you sell it here, you get very rich. That is not my approach with silver and gold. Yes, I want to get rich. We all want to be rich. But my silver and gold is there for if and when. Now, when it's time, it's too late to buy silver. If there's a crisis out there in the street, it's too late to buy gold. It's too late to buy silver. You have to already have it. Now, yes, that means you have an asset that might do nothing for a while, except sit in the closet. Don't worry. That's a good problem to have. At least I consider that a good problem to have.
I want to just go back a couple of years where we first started to see gold really start to move month by month by month. And usually there's like a big pullback, and then it'll come back, month to month. But we haven't really seen a big pullback in gold for a couple of years anyway. It's hit recent all-time highs at $3,000 an ounce. In your view, what do you think is driving that gold price where central banks are buying it as much as they are?
What is driving gold price? Look out the window. There's chaos coming. There are huge debt problems in many parts of the world, and the debt problems everywhere are getting worse. And there's money printing everywhere in the world, or nearly everywhere in the world, and the money printing is getting easier. Politicians love money printing. It's very easy. They love the easy answer.
Yes.
So they print money. Whenever there's a question, the answer is print money, print more money. And that's always going to be the case. Not in every country necessarily, but when they print money here, it affects everybody because there's so much more money circulating in the world. So, I mean, listen, I own gold, I own silver, I always have. I told my wife, I'm not going to sell it, I'm just going to buy more. She wants to sell it, she's a good trader. She wants to sell it, she sees it's up. I'm not selling.
Yeah, no, hang on to it. I'm trying to hang on to what I have as well. Try to accumulate a bit more as best I can as well. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, I believe his name is, he was saying that we were certainly heading towards a financial crisis because of the debt, as we touched on here. But now he seems to be saying, because the government, they are now doing things to try to control the debt. It seems he's saying a financial crisis may not be as guaranteed as it once was. What? Okay, you're laughing already. I was going to ask you, what do you say to that?
You go back and read as much history as you want to. We have always had financial crises. Not every week, not every month, but the world has always had financial crises. They recur. They have recurred everywhere. And yes, in Washington, they say, don't worry. We know what we're doing now. We have solved the problem. I hope you're smart enough not to believe them. The world has always had financial crises.
Right.
Since the beginning of time. And we're going to have more because human beings make mistakes Human beings get greedy. Human beings do strange things. They always have. Now, in Washington, they'll say, not anymore. Now we're different. We know.
Yeah.
It's always happened, no matter where you are. Whether it was Britain 100 years ago, France 200, it doesn't matter.
Right.
People have always made mistakes, and they always get greedy. Everybody gets greedy. So it's going to happen again. Don't worry.
Yes, I know it's going to happen. I also 100% believe that. But I'm curious how it'll happen, what it might look like. Yes, we're expecting these things. People always make mistakes. People get greedy. And when this, call it a currency crisis, financial crisis comes, how do you see it playing out?
What will happen is you'll turn on the TV one night and they'll ring a bell. And they'll say, this is it. Get ready. Go buy your silver. No, they never ring a bell. They never let us know in advance. But when it comes, it's too late. I'm going to say it's so simple. It's simple because it's happened many, many times,
Right.
throughout history, all over the world. Not just Singapore, not just America, Germany, Japan, everywhere. When this problem comes, it's too late. When it's too late, the price is also going. If you can buy it,
Oh, yeah.
if you can buy it, the price is very, very high. So you better buy your silver now. At least I am buying my silver now. I own silver and gold. I've owned them for decades. I've never sold any.
Yeah.
I give them to friends sometimes or family, but I don't buy my silver to speculate. I
point.
buy it to own because I know that it's going to save me. I mean, silver's been going up since I first started buying for many years. Silver's up a lot. When I first bought silver, it was $1.29. You can't even think that low. It's very, very low. Now, of course, it's over 30 US dollars. And if you ask me, it's going to go higher. But I'm not giving investment advice.
Of course.
I'm giving advice about life. You should own silver and you should own gold.
See, that came from Jim. No, but
See,
so
here it is, right here.
yeah, see, we even got, look at
The
these.
reserve.
I also want to ask you though, is there going to be any currency during these times that will be a favored currency, a used currency, a currency that might be seen as a safe haven? I mean, anything, any currency?
Well, I've been around longer than you. I will tell you there's no such word as safe when you're talking about investing or about assets. No such thing as safe. Nothing is safe, as you will find out someday. I do own a lot of things like gold and silver, and I hope that I can keep them protected and hidden or safe, because when there's a problem, I had rather have gold and silver than most things I can think of. Sure, bananas are great. I'd rather have silver, you know. Yes, if you have bananas in a crisis, you're better than most people. But if you have silver, you're better still. You keep the bananas and give me the silver.
Well, it depends. If I have some cereal to put the bananas in, then I might keep a few of them. But absolutely keep your silver over bananas any day. Commodities. You had mentioned sugar before. You had mentioned agriculture before, and we're seeing the prices of things like eggs just rising through the roof. What do you see as far as the importance of agriculture still now that we're seeing food prices really rising? Because you were saying before, there may not be people to take over the place of the current farmers.
Well, the world has had agriculture for centuries. And in the last few years, in most of the world, not many people became farmers.
Right.
You went to school. I bet nobody you went to school with became a farmer.
Nah.
Very few, if any, very few people in your life became a farmer.
Right.
They all went to Wall Street. They all went to the City of London. They all went to money, money, money. And that is, the farmers around the world are getting very old. The average age of farmers in Japan is over 50, over 60.
Right.
In America, the average age of everywhere. Farmers are getting very old because it hasn't been a wildly exciting place to be for a long time. So whether we like it or not, we're running out of farmers. And many people say, who cares? I don't want to be a farmer. But when the crisis comes, you're going to want some food somewhere.
Right.
You're going to wish you had become a farmer. You're going to go back and find your classmates who did become farmers. You're going to try to find them wherever they are. And the world has had gigantic cycles of periods when the farmers were the richest people in the world.
Yes.
And I mean, if you read Russian novels, oh my God, you can't believe how rich the Russian farmers were once upon a time. Or any Germans, anybody. And that will happen again. We have had these gigantic cycles in history, and it doesn't matter whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
The facts are that for hundreds of years, you go back and you look and you say, boy, I wish I'd been a farmer in those days.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why it's
I
good
can
to be a
see
farmer.
you're not going to become a farmer, and I'm not
might.
either.
I might
I'm not either. But I do hope I'm smart enough to protect myself.
Jim, do you think most people really understand and get it that these things are coming pretty hard, coming pretty quick, these currency crises, these financial crises? Do you think most people really get it or understand it?
You know that most people don't care at all about a lot of the things we're discussing. They will care when they turn on the evening news.
The bills
They're
going
talking about this, the crisis, the crisis that's coming, that Wall Street is collapsing, or the banks are collapsing, whatever, or the price of food is skyrocketing. They can't get food. No. There will be times when everybody will want, you go down to the restaurant and everybody will be discussing these things. Right now, nobody cares. You could go in and you could tell everybody, did you know? They say, who cares? Who cares? But when we have these recurring crises, everybody cares, and everybody learns. But this is not the first time this has happened. There will come a time when you will go downstairs and open the door, and there'll be hundreds of people lined up because they want to buy some silver. And they know you have some silver and some gold. And they will all be here ready to buy your silver. Right now, if you went to most people in the world and said, oh, well, we deal in silver, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, what's silver?
Right.
But when the time comes, oh, you'll be the richest person in Singapore. I have my silver and I want some more. I would certainly buy more silver. And I have learned, as you have, it's better to buy your silver when nobody cares.
Yes.
When things are calm.
You know, I've always wanted to ask you this question, and you know, I thank you for your views on precious metals. I do think it's something that more of us need to know and hear of. But I really want to know, what is a day like for Jim Rogers?
I want a free lunch. We all want a free lunch. No, I try to keep informed about what's happening in the world, uh, especially where things are not very interesting. You know, when there's a war, we all know about it, and we all pay attention. It's on the television, etc. But those are not the best times to start trying to think about what to do.
Right.
When everybody's worried about the war, or when everybody's worried about collapse or whatever it is, you should have already thought about it. You should have thought about it last month when nobody cared. And the problem is, you and I can sit here and discuss this, and everybody will say, they're right. Will they do anything? No,
Right.
they won't do anything. You know, I can say, he sells silver and this is where he's located. Nobody cares. When they care, it's too late.
If you can recall, what was it that actually got you to pull the trigger and buy your first ounce of silver?
It was in 1971, and up until that time in America, the price of silver, where I was America, where I was living, the price of gold and silver were fixed by the government. It was illegal to buy gold. It's actually illegal for Americans to buy gold at one time. It's legal now. And silver. Everything was controlled and fixed by the U.S. government, since I'm American. And nobody cared. And for whatever reason, well, I know the reason. The government had fixed the price of gold and silver in the 30s for many reasons. And so if the price of silver is fixed, there's not much incentive to produce silver because you can't make any money. I mean, let's say you have a silver mine and you produce silver and you go to sell it, but the price is fixed at a crazy price set by the government. I actually remember to this day when the U.S. government started releasing or unbundling the price of silver. They said, we will let the market decide the price of silver. I remember when that happened. Nobody cared. But some old guy told me, and he told me that the price of silver had to go up because I figured it out. I mean, nobody had been producing silver. If you couldn't get a profit producing silver, why would you produce silver? You know, you would buy stocks or something. So when that started happening, and for whatever reason, I guess because the guy told me, I started watching the price of silver, $1.29 US cents per ounce in those days. I mean, as you know, it's now $34, 34, not one, 34. Because the price of silver has gone up. And that happened because nobody produced silver when it was so cheap, when the price was set. And then the demand came in because people were worried about the currency and the money, and the price went up. Same happened with gold. But this is basic economics, which people have been doing for hundreds of years. Right. And the price of silver and gold will go much higher because they're still artificially low priced. And it's not wildly profitable for most people to produce gold and silver. It's better now. It's better to be a silver miner now than a banana farmer. But the United States, I'll use the U.S. again, it's a gigantic debtor. You know, 50 years ago, the U.S. was a creditor nation, still a creditor nation. Now it's the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and the debt's getting higher and higher every day, and nobody's doing anything about it. I'm sitting here talking about it. Who cares? But nobody's solving the problem. In 1925, Britain was the #1 country in the world, a gigantic creditor nation. 50 years later, this is the country which was the #1. There was no #2. 50 years later, in 1976, Britain went bankrupt. The IMF had to fly to London airport to pay the bills because Britain went from the richest country in the world, the most powerful country in the world, to totally bankrupt. You remember Margaret Thatcher?
Yes.
Margaret Thatcher was elected prime minister because of the crisis in Britain. They went bankrupt. And fortunately, Margaret Thatcher saved Britain, but she did some very good things, and she was a smart person. But the main reason that Margaret Thatcher could save Britain was, in 1979, the North Sea oil started flowing. Britain had discovered oil in the North Sea, and it was the largest oil field in the world, and that saved Britain. Now, Margaret Thatcher said, "See, I did it. I saved it. If you give me the largest oil field in the world, I will show you a very good time. We will have a wonderful time." And that's what happened. But I don't see anything like that. There's nothing like that can save Britain now. Nothing like that can save the U.S.
Yeah.
Because the debt everywhere in the world is staggering.
It's an interesting point because it also makes you wonder, could the U.S. actually get to that point where somebody also has to bail them out the same way with England?
You just said this, a couple of words, somebody has to.
Who's the somebody?
Somebody has to act. That's always the case. And the problem is most of us do not act until we have to. Most people don't sit around and say, there's a problem coming, blah, blah, blah. I need to learn to play football, whatever it is. Most of us just don't care until we have to. And when the panic comes, most people don't think clearly. Most people do foolish things, irrational things. So be sure to keep your silver safely secured somewhere, and your gold.
All right, absolutely. Jim, I'll wrap this up. Is there any way where people can get more of your views and your opinions?
No, I don't have anything to sell, I'm afraid. I'm just a simple person trying to stay solvent, trying to pay my bills. I certainly have great fun talking with you and your company about what's happening, but other than things like that, I'm useless. But I always certainly enjoy talking with smart people, knowledgeable people, especially knowledgeable people who are ahead of their time. And having silver in the closet is ahead of the time. So you're doing the right thing.
All right. Appreciate that. I just watch as many interviews of you as I can, and I will follow whatever Jim says. But Jim, I want to thank you for stopping by the reserve again.
It's been great fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll come back and buy some more silver.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't worry, I'll be back. Yes.
All right, Jim Rogers again. Thank you very much. That was Jim Rogers sharing his views on precious metals and the economy. To learn more about Jim, go to www.jimrogers.com. If you like this video, please do subscribe, share, and give it a thumbs up. All are greatly appreciated. Audio-only versions of this interview can be found on iTunes and Spotify.